Uh, our first perspective is structural functionalism. Don't worry about the hi-fi words, structural functionalism. These are very simple things basically. It simply means that society is like an organism. Society is like an organism. I must tell you that this is the first perspective which emerged in uh, sociological analysis, and the founders of classical sociology like Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, Emile Durkheim are associated with this perspective. They basically developed this perspective, and it was further refined by T. Parsons, Stalford Parsons, American sociologist, and further refined by Robert K. Merton. So, uh, society is like an organism. So, what analogies you think that there are, what similarities you think there are in society and organism? They both basically, you can imagine that they both grow. For example, society changes itself. It becomes, from we have from simple societies to complex societies. There is a whole movement. Societies, for example, one can say that they can become sick like an organism. Societies have problems. Social problems can be thought of pathologies, the diseases which are developed in society. The basic unit of society is individual, as the basic unit of organism is cell, right? So whatever is the relationship between cell and organism is the relationship between individual and society. Individuals, cells for example, they can die, but organism keeps on going. Similarly, individuals can die, but society keeps on going. We can think also that cells are not directly, creating the organism. There are uh, there is an there is a hierarchy. There is an order of different structures. There is a whole structure, in the sense that cells create tissues and tissues create organs and organs create, for example, the systems. We have digestive system, we have endocrine system, etc. So individuals create families, and families create clans and tribes and the races and the nationalities and so on in the whole world. So this is structured. This is the means of structural. It is structure. So this was the first, and even Ibn Khaldun has, the founder of sociology. If we take into account other traditions, we have discussed that we will be studying here only Western tradition, but we should not forget that there are other traditions of sociology. There are many sociologies basically. We are discussing just one of the sociologies here. So there can be an Indian tradition of sociology. There can be even a Chinese tradition of sociology, starting from Confucius. There can be a Muslim tradition of sociology, including Al-Biruni, Ibn Khaldun, and Shah Waliullah. And there can be other sociology. There can be Christian tradition of sociology. But here we are concerned with modern Western sociology, the tradition. So in that tradition, the basic assumption is that society has a structure. Now, what do we mean by the word structure? Structure means a recurring pattern, a pattern which does not change its shape. This wall, this building, this is a structure because it is there. It is predictable. A structure is something which is regular, predictable, and therefore there is a sense of reliance. If something is structured, our mind can understand the structure. It is understandable. If there is no structure, it is not understandable. So human mind sometimes, by the way, imposes its own structures and sees the regularities while there is none. That is another thing. But society, they say, these theorists say that society has a structure, and as human body, for example, is a structure, is a skeleton, and it has an anatomy. So when we use the word that society has a structure, so this is basically society has an anatomy. Functionalism simply means that different parts of, because if it is a structure, it must have different parts. every structure can be is basically composed of different parts. This is the meaning of structure. Those parts are related to one another in a particular way to create that structure. So the second thing is that each part has a specific role to perform. Each part has a specific function, hence the word functionalism. So society has a structure, it has different parts, and these parts are interrelated in a particular way, and each part has a specific function to perform. So in biological we can say that society has an anatomy and it has a physiology as well. The emphasis of physiology is on functions, we know that. So different organs of society has different organs, and each organ has a specific function to perform. So this is in a very brief, very brief way we have defined structural functionalism, that society is basically created of different parts, each part, and these parts are interrelated in a particular way, and each part has a specific function. Now they also assume that society remains in a state of equilibrium. This is the central, you can say, postulate of structural functionalism. They emphasize the fitness of different organs. As human body, it remains in a state of equilibrium. When we walk or when we stand, when we sit, we have our whole body, all the organs, they are related to one another and they cooperate with one another in a sense. The emphasis is on fitness and how they relate to operate the whole body and in all its so just like a machine is also a structure. So society is like a machine, and machine, when for example a motor car, it works, it moves, so different parts cooperate with one another to make that function happen, to make that structure happen and make the function happen. So there is an equilibrium or fitness or harmony, whatever you call it. So this perspective, the central assumption of this perspective is that that society remains in a state of equilibrium, and this equilibrium is achieved by all the parts of society. So each part basically works toward equilibrium. Simply, each part works toward the equilibrium. So the role of each part, of machine, the society, is called function. So function is a technical word here. Function means the role of part for the whole. The contribution, you can say, the contribution of the part for the whole. So this relationship between parts and whole is the real game, the real, you can say, story by this perspective. So society has different parts, each part has a function, has a contribution to make society happen, to make society work. So, and then another thing, society has certain needs. Society, in order to keep on going, it has certain needs, as any machine has certain needs, an organism overall has certain needs. So these needs are technically called, don't worry about this term, functional prerequisites. Functional prerequisites. Functional prerequisites simply means, my dear students, needs of society. Needs of society. Functional prerequisites. So society has, this is another assumption of functional prerequisites, functional sociologists, that society has certain needs, it has certain functional prerequisites, and these functional prerequisites are fulfilled by the parts of society. So if we start from the whole, from society, we say that society has needs, society has functional prerequisites. These functional prerequisites are fulfilled by the functions of parts. Parts have functions, whole has functional prerequisites. I hope you are following the point. Functions are basically a response to the functional prerequisites. For example, if I am feeling thirsty, this is my need, right? So this need is responded or answered by water. So thirst and water have a relationship. So need and the fulfillment of those needs. So needs are prerequisites, functional prerequisites, and the answer to those needs are functions. For example, society needs a mechanism to transfer the culture, to transmit the values of older generation to the future generations. This is the need of society. This need, for example, is fulfilled by the setup of family. In family, for example, we can see that different generations live together. You have grandfather and father and sons and daughters. So one of the functions of family so this is how, for example, the need of society is fulfilled by a specific organ, family, and its functions, right? So functions and functional prerequisites. Please try to understand these two concepts. So this is the overall view of functionalism. Another thing is that according to this perspective, whatever is happening in society as a regular feature, whatever is norm of society, that is for some purpose. Nothing is redundant in society. Whatever is going on in society as a regular feature, it must be functional, it must be contributing to something. And this point is really controversial of functionalism, that for example, even those things which are generally regarded as negative, even those things which are generally regarded as problematic, even those are, according to these sociologists, even these things are functional. That's why they are there. For example, dowry, jahez, right? So if we say that if it is existing, it is for some purpose and it must be serving some function. For example, even they say crime, even crime exists for some purpose, right? So we'll be discussing these things later on. But everything which is being done as a regular feature, that is basically a part of society, and that is there because it is serving some function. Otherwise, society would just throw it away. So deviance, crime, they are functional. Even poverty, they say, even the people, poor people, they say that they are functional, right? Poverty is functional according to this perspective. So that can be criticized, but this is how they view society. And they also say that society takes care of itself. We need not worry much about society. Society is a mechanism which is going on, and there are people who, so instead of revolution, these people support evolution. The society is evolving, and with the passage of time, it would take care of itself. So this is their the basic contours of functionalism. We will be keep on discussing. Thank you very much.